Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Collection Chronicles here at the Ministry of Guitar. Today I'm featuring a guitar that you may not know I have in my collection. This is a PRS CE24 Reclaimed. Now I'm going to put the link to the official video for this guitar from PRS, but suffice to say that this guitar is a very unique run. In fact, the only run of its kind in PRS, and it's not even private stock. It's just, it's made in USA, but it's a CE. And what makes it special is it's made from reclaimed woods from South America, from the Amazon rainforest, and they basically took all the old houses that were there, and they got this. Oh well, I wish I had looked up the names. In fact, let me just look it up quickly. They got a special wood which is rose colored for the top, as well as a special wood for the fretboard. And I'm just going to look it up in just a second while you admire this guitar. All right, so the two exotic woods on this were Peroba Rosa, which has got something to do with rose. This is from the southeastern Brazil's Atlantic forest, and expected to be a little bit more than 100 years old based on the buildings and when they were built. Not when the buildings were built, but how old the wood was when it was built. And Brona Petto is for the fretboard. Otherwise, the rest of the guitar is fairly standard. Well, it's got a maple neck, it's got a bolt-on, mahogany body, beautiful satin nitro finish, satin nitro neck, and of course semi-hollow construction, which makes it really, really light, exceptionally balanced, and just an excuse me, all-round amazing guitar. For me, this is one of those guitars that I consider a future classic, given that how unique it was in the PRS lineup to do something as stripped back yet as special as this. And the good thing is that, though it's been only a few years, these aren't really that expensive. If you think about how expensive, very, very unique guitars are these days, something from PRS in a very different vein. These are, I think, only about $2,500 or $3,000, similar to how much they. So they haven't lost much value. Maybe they've gained a little bit, but $2,500, $3,000 for such a special guitar, and without trying to act smart, I know how special this guitar is because I have many, many, very much more expensive PRSs. So it's really an amazing guitar. In fact, I don't play this guitar too much because I'm a little bit scared of, one of those guitars where I'm not really a collector per se, despite the name of this series, but this is one of those guitars I think it should be kept as original as possible. And you know how satin guitars are, right? The more you play them, they get shiny. So that's what I do particularly. I don't play this that much, though I should play it more. It's got a beautiful sound. And when I say it has a beautiful sound, it's unique. It's a 24 fret guitar, which would make it a bit brighter, but it's semi hollow, which would make it less bright, and it's got this unique wood going. The way I would characterize this as is, should I say, it's a reasonably bright guitar, but it warms up really nicely, particularly with gain. That's how I would think of it. Of course, it's no 335, but for your standard rock applications, this is very, very nice. I think whether you prefer the tone of this or something like a regular custom 24 would really fall down to personal preference. And the neck on this guitar is a pattern thin, which is a very misleading neck name because no PRS necks are really that thin, especially if you compare it to Ibanez. This is the thinnest neck that PRS makes, which is still reasonable in size. Definitely not as thin as something like a Slim 60s in the Gibson lineup. Yeah. What else about this guitar that I really, really like? Well, each of these guitars has a different top, and because they were all part of a house, you could see that they have some character. So in my guitar's case, it has some nail marks over here. It has some very nice figuring, but each guitar has different figuring, so don't rely on this guitar. Look it up if you want one of these. The fretboard basically just feels like rosewood, I would say. Maybe a touch smoother, but that could just be psychological. I can't really tell for sure. And yeah, overall, the main thing is this guitar is more than the sum of its parts, right? It's some guitars are such a good cohesive whole, and this guitar is really one of those beautiful pieces. Okay, good. Nothing much else to add. Let me give you a few more slightly more gainy tones. Well, I've been playing through archetype Petrucci because that's just easy. The previous one was something called, I think it was called Crystal Caves. And now I'm just going to do Awaken the Master and give you some gainy sounds, and we'll be on our way.